Just a few short days ago, Knott's Berry Farm announced that their beloved Montezuma's Revenge will finally get that overdue upgrade in the 2025 season. They didn't provide too much detail, but I'm sure it will have a very similar, if not the same layout as the original. This announcement is coming on the heels of many other announcements that came about over the past year or so. Theme parks are taking their current attractions under the knife and providing them with a much needed upgrade. Busch Gardens Williamsburg is replacing certain sections of Loch Ness Monster with new track, which should provide a much smoother ride. The biggest upgrade happening in 2024 has to be Top Thrill 2 over at Cedar Point. The legendary Top Thrill dragster has been gutted of its hydraulic launch and replaced by modern LSMs, which is a magnetic launch. Also, the ride is receiving a massive reverse spike, which will accommodate the slower LSM launch and hypothetically provide a more reliable attraction. I think it's clear that the theme park industry is heading into another trend: upgrade, not replace. Before I continue with today's content, do me a favor by clicking on that like button, and if you are new to my channel, love roller coasters and theme parks, please subscribe. The whole repair instead of replacing trend is actually nothing new in the theme park industry. The concept has been around for quite some time, however, where I think it started to gain notoriety was when Steel Phantom at Kennywood was transformed into Phantom's Revenge. The park took their rough, janky looping roller coaster and upgraded it into a highly popular hypercoaster. Phantom's Revenge is now over 20 years old and is still arguably the park's headlining attraction. Instead of replacing Steel Phantom, the park, with the help of Morgan, found a less expensive option that allowed them to use many of the footers and old sections of track while converting it into a newer, superior attraction. Other roller coasters have seen similar upgrades and repairs, like Powder Keg over at Silver Dollar City. That was a water coaster converted into a pneumatic launch coaster. Of course, many wooden coasters will replace giant sections of track or even try newer styles of wooden track that are supposed to be better. With that said though, I think the trend of repairing, or maybe better yet, upgrading your current roller coaster came to a head when Rocky Mountain Construction entered the scene. After their first hybrid conversion of new Texas Giant opened in 2011, every theme park wanted one. This was an ingenious move by RMC. They found a way to allow theme parks to introduce a new attraction all while saving costs. The hybrid roller coaster is a concept of taking an aged wooden roller coaster and replacing its old track with modern steel rails. Because of the new steel track, the designer is able to contort the coaster into more crazier maneuvers that your traditional wooden coaster could never dream of doing. Because the ride uses most of the original footers and even the original structure, this reduces construction costs considerably. Plus, if any of the support structure needs modification, replacing wooden beams is so much cheaper than steel. Over the next 9 years, RMC was the king of roller coasters. Every coaster enthusiast was clamoring over their latest edition and would base their year of traveling around these new attractions. Well, as they say, every good thing comes to an end. Not to say that RMC is over, which they are not, but their process of converting wooden coasters into hybrid roller coasters has slowed down considerably since 2020. The pandemic, I'm sure, played a huge part in this, but also many other manufacturers have introduced their coaster upgrade options. Gravity Group, which is sticking closer to the original wooden track design, is still innovating with computer precision, redesigning track that is a lot smoother. Just take a ride on Grizzly over at King's Dominion, and you'll notice the difference. Great Coasters International has their own steel rail called Titan Track that can replace wooden coaster track. Though they haven't done a complete conversion yet, most of the time Titan Track is used to replace certain sections of track that have the most wear and tear, basically allowing a theme park to upgrade their current wooden roller coaster but not completely losing that wooden coaster feel, trying to capture the best of both worlds. For the most part, most of these upgrades have been on wooden roller coasters, but now manufacturers are starting to take aim at the steel coasters. Bolliger and Mabillard, or B&M for short, has already been in the game for converting uncomfortable stand-up coasters into floorless roller coasters. Basically, the only changes that have to happen are new trains and an updated station. Now the park can advertise their old roller coaster as a new attraction. Zamperla is another manufacturer that is getting into the upgrade business. Their most notable project is converting hydraulic launch coasters by Intamin amusement rides and replacing the launch mechanism with modern LSMs. As already mentioned, the most notable conversion would be Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point, and I can tell you right now, if this roller coaster proves to be successful, and if the merger of Cedar Fair and Six Flags takes place, King Dakar at Six Flags Great Adventure might very well be one breakdown away from going under the knife. As much as I love a good hydraulic launch coaster, they are very unreliable. Magnetic launching coasters are so much more reliable, even though they are unable to recreate that same forceful launch like hydraulic launches. But give it time and I think that the tech will eventually catch up. I mean, the idea of LSM launching coasters breaking 100 miles per hour seemed impossible 10 years ago. Now, we are on pace to have 2 of these in operation over the next couple years. It's no secret that higher prices from inflation are starting to catch up with the everyday spender. People are choosing less expensive vacation options or forgo traveling altogether. This will affect the theme park industry. To stay profitable, parks will have to cut back on spending, but if they want to continue bringing in the crowds, they also have to innovate. Upgrading a current roller coaster is always going to be a cheaper option than building a ground-up roller coaster. This is the best of both worlds. Guests are happy that the park isn't removing a classic, but instead upgrading it. Theme parks are happy that they can advertise a new attraction without spending the hefty price tag of a new attraction. Also, one other reason why upgrading is the current best option is space. Just take a look at many theme parks in the Cedar Fair or Six Flags chain. They operate over a dozen roller coasters, and at some point, building a new coaster doesn't make sense. The park either doesn't have the adequate space to build, or they have the problem of having too many attractions. I know as a consumer that the dilemma seems silly because we would love the option of having countless coasters, dark rides, and flat rides to pick from, but the crowd size has to justify the amount of attractions and staff. Keeping every attraction fully staffed is a costly endeavor. This is basically the same problem that Six Flags Magic Mountain is running into. The park has 20 roller coasters, but it's extremely rare that all roller coasters would be operating in one given day. This is why I think Cedar Point has either been upgrading or replacing their current roller coasters. The last time this park actually added a new roller coaster that didn't come at the cost of closing down an older roller coaster was Valravn. Unless you're Universal and building a brand new theme park, the idea of adding newer roller coasters to your already decently sized collection seems counterintuitive. The much better solution is to continue improving your current attractions by either upgrade or replace. If we take a look at Hershey Park, 2 of their 3 quote-unquote new attractions have been upgrades. Jolly Rancher Remix and Skyrush both received cosmetic upgrades, while Wildcat's Revenge is a quasi-upgrade replacement of Wildcat. Speaking of Skyrush, Hershey Park announced that they are replacing the old seats and restraints with modern new ones by Intamin. This should provide a better ride experience and inject more intrigue into a roller coaster that is over a decade old. So, with that said, do I think that theme parks are done adding new roller coasters and will just continue improving their existing lineup? No, but I do think that new roller coasters will be more and more rare. If they do build a new roller coaster, I expect it to be more family-centric, but I've already talked about that in a past video. Instead, we will see more upgrades touted as new rides. But honestly, as long as these upgrades are decent improvements, I won't have a problem with this trend. Until next time, this is X Scream Thrills.